Okay, so imagine being locked in a cage your entire life. You have no choice over who you can see, where you can go, what you can eat, and even when you turn the lights on and off. Now imagine that, except every day you can be burned, shocked, chemicals dripped into your eye, hair pulled out, and even left brain dead. And this sounds terrible, but this is the reality for over 100 million animals worldwide due to animal testing. Now, the common person believes that we should still use animal testing because it's effective, because animals are similar to us humans, and because it's our only choice since we can't test on humans, when in reality none of these are true. Forward-thinking scientists have come up with alternative test methods that we can use to replace animal testing. And if you care about finding legitimately safe healthcare solutions, or even about the lives of animals, then we should do everything we can to help them. So in this speech, I'm going to talk about why we should replace animal testing with alternative methods. I'm going to go a little bit into different types of alternative tests. And lastly, I'm going to go into about what you and I, just normal people, can do to help aid in the transition from animal tests to alternative tests. So first, I'm going to talk about how animal testing has a low success rate. So according to PETA, which is the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, they said that about $16 billion of taxpayer money is put into animal testing every single year. And out of all the drugs that are safe for animals, about 92% of them are unsafe for humans. And of the 8% that are safe for humans, about half of them are taken off the shelves later because they end up having serious or lethal side effects after long-term usage. So in total, there's about 4% success rate from doing animal tests, which is very small considering how time-consuming and expensive animal testing is. Next, I'm going to talk about why animals and humans are different. So, Dr. Ronald W. Davis, a professor at Stanford University, said that researchers are so ingrained to cure mice that they forgot that we are trying to cure humans. So actually in the past, we have found cures for a few types of cancer and HIV, but when it's translated into a cure for humans, it just doesn't work. So the thing we need to do is find a way to predict human responses instead of animal responses when we're trying to find cures for new diseases. Next, I'm going to talk about how the laws that are meant to protect animals in labs actually don't. So in California, you can be charged with up to $20,000 and or imprisonment for up to 1 year if you maliciously, intentionally maim, mutilate, torture, or wound a living animal, potentially kill, overdrive, overload, drives and overload, and you get the idea. And this sounds similar to some of the things that they do in these animal testing labs. But it's okay because these animals are supposed to be protected by laws such as the Animal Awareness Act. But in an article from the New England Anti-Vivisection Society, they said that enacted in 1966, it regulates the care and use of animals in research and testing. However, the AWA provides only minimal protection for certain species while excluding others such as rats, mice, and birds for research, who constitute an estimated 90-95% of animals' laboratories. So basically, it's illegal for people like you and I to hurt animals, but in labs it's okay because they're protected, when in reality they're not actually totally protected. Next, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the ethics behind animal testing, which is obviously the most controversial part of it. So animals can't say no to us, so we mistake this silence as consent, so we can put our awful experimentation onto them. And I think a lot of people would agree that this is morally wrong. So if animal testing has such a low success rate, and that humans and animals are too different, and the laws don't actually ensure their safety, and because it's morally wrong, then we should move on to alternative test methods, which Dr. Elias Zeroni, which is the former director of the National Institutes of Health, he said this really well. We've moved away from studying human disease in humans. The problem is that testing animals hasn't worked, and it's time we stop dancing around the problem. We need to refocus and adapt to new methodologies for use in humans to understand disease biology. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the types of alternative tests. So there are in vitro tests using human cells and tissues, and there are also in silico tests with advanced computer modeling programs. So the first one, which is called Organs on Chips, Harvard's Wyss Institute created, which contains human cells grown on a chip that replicate human physiology, diseases, and drug responses more accurately than crude experiments. And then there's also another one called Epiderm from Matic Corporation, which is the leading in vitro alternative test, where they actually take RHE, which is reconstructed human epidermis, a 3D tissue model consisting of a normal human-derived epidermal keratinocytes cultured on a specially prepared tissue culture insert. So basically, I'm not a scientist, I can't explain this very well, but they try to take human cells and construct them in a way so that it can mimic human responses. And then there's also in silico methods where they use computer programs to simulate human biology and the progression of developing diseases. So basically these two methods are much more successful than animal testing because they are based solely around human responses, not attempting to fit animal responses to ours. And now that I've gone over a little bit why we should stop doing animal testing and about some of the alternative methods, I'm going to talk about how you can support alternative testing. So the easiest thing that you and I can do is to buy cruelty-free products. So a bunch of these brands here don't test on animals, and you would know because they have this or the other ones of these symbols on their products. And it's really easy to do, just to, like, for example, take the shampoo you've been using for years and then switch it out for one with these symbols on them. And you could also donate to organizations that support alternative tests, such as the New England Anti-Vivisection Society. This is from their website. And it doesn't really matter how much money you donate or like how many things you switch over cruelty-free, because even the smallest step can work towards a larger goal, which is to protect the lives of animals. So, thank you. Show the audience. Yay! Yay! I wrote that this morning.